by the incumbent. So it is more or less the same in the EU 15 countries and in Hungary. The second section, which is the yellow and the brown section, it shows the alternative DSL technology when they are using wholesale broadband access and local loop and bundling. And you can see that within the EU it is much more significant than in Hungary. In Hungary it is rather insignificant, but which is very significant in Hungary is cable. And really, it is cable where we have very high penetration, and cable can play a very important role to provide very high-speed broadband access to Hungarian consumers. This is the most attractive and the most popular technology in Hungary at the moment. Okay, and the last part of my presentation, I would like to show you just speak a little bit about how this market structure was created, because I think that this is quite an interesting story. At the Hungarian market, there was a usual organic development, but without the pressure of the cable technology, the incumbent, this is my opinion, the incumbent would not be able to invest in high-speed broadband. But as a result of the availability of the cable technology, it was a real pressure on the incumbents to invest into other high-speed broadband technologies. But there was a very important role for public financing as well. This is rather similar situation to France and to Romania. That in the last 7 years there were 5 governmental financing schemes which were used for broadband technology deployment, and most of the money allocated to this purpose was used for development of the cable technologies. In the last years, this grant scheme was used for improving and developing local networks, but at the moment, the newest grant scheme, which is currently ongoing and open for operators, it is focusing on the backhaul network, because we identified the backhaul network as the main bottleneck which prevents development of broadband technology in Hungary. So this was the role of the governmental grant schemes, but of course alone a governmental grant scheme would not be effective, and it was helped or supported by the regulation as well. And this was from 2004 that the regulator made a regulation which supported the wholesale broadband markets in Hungary. As a result of this, the infrastructure developed in a quite fast pace. This was the positive sign from or the positive side from the regulator. We weren't very much successful in implementing the ladder of investment theory in Hungary. It really didn't work, because alternative operators did not start investing in their own infrastructure, and also similarly to Romania, the local loop and bundling is really not a success story in Hungary. What can we expect in the Hungarian market? What can we expect under these financial conditions? What we can see is that it is for sure that the general economic conditions will not improve in short term, and if this is the case, it is really a question whether a kind of demand-driven growth is feasible or not. if people do not have money to spend on high quality services, then operators obviously will not invest and will not provide this type of services to consumers. The positive side of the financial crisis in the Hungarian market is that there is a quite fast market consolidation process on the market, and we might expect that as a result of this market consolidation, some of the alternative providers will gain the momentum and they will be stronger and stronger, and hopefully they will start co-invest and work together with incumbents in network development as well. An interesting question for us, I don't have the answer for that, whether from the regulator side, whether we need a more fine-tuned regulation or more symmetric regulation in order to stimulate investment. This is a question which still needs to be answered in Hungary. And the last thing I would like to say here is that it is very, very important to have a coherent coherence between regulation and the public money spent on broadband development. I wouldn't say that in Hungary we did this by purpose. No, it was. I think that we were lucky that regulation was not in contradiction with the governmental funding schemes. But in the future, we really need to focus on this and create a nice cooperation between ministries and the regulator. And my very last slide about the conclusions and the dilemmas. The very basic dilemma or the very basic conclusion that in this area we have different players, and all the different players need to do their own homework. We could listen to the initiatives of the European Commission, which are, in my understanding, very, very important. From our point of view in Hungary, I would highlight 3 of them. All of them were mentioned at the beginning of this session. The first one is the revision of the state aid guidelines. So if it might be, so the state aid guidelines could help us to allocate more public money and on a more effective way to improving network infrastructure. There is this ongoing consultation on how to reduce the cost of rolling out of high-speed communication networks, and the most exciting one is the Connecting Europe facility, which is very, very important for us, and I think that for all the member states. On the national level, I already mentioned this, that we are thinking about whether it is necessary to help stimulate investment through regulation as well, meaning that put less burden on the incumbent operators. In our understanding, it is very important to have and try to make so-called voluntary agreements with the incumbent operators. Try to find the best way to fasten broadband deployment in Hungary. And the next dilemma was also already mentioned, that in my understanding the regulation and the governmental money spent on broadband deployment should go hand in hand and should help each other. There are synergies to be found and to be used. And the very last conclusion is that we shouldn't forget the role of cable networks in high-speed broadband development. Thank you for your time, and I'm very, very glad to receive questions in the next session.